All right, it is 5 o'clock. I'm sorry, I'm a little late. I don't know what I was thinking. I had a class till 5, and I'm jumping on with y'all now from 5 to 6. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking when I planned that. So let's get to our questions, which is why I'm so glad I have things organized. Here's our Claude questions. We are on question 170. And oh, let me make sure I can see my chat for everybody else. Hello, Miss Marily. Hello, Venus. Hello. Hopefully, if you all have questions, just let me know. Woo, I've been teaching 9 to 5, then I'm gonna do this from 5 to 6, and then I'm gonna go fall out. I'm sick of talking. Right. So, first question, unless somebody has a question, let's just get right into it. You live for real? Yeah, we are live for real. This is real, real. This is real. This is like the real world, but real estate teacher edition. All right. A blanket mortgage covers what? Number 170. A blanket mortgage covers what? A single property with multiple loans. B, multiple properties under one mortgage. C, construction and permanent financing, or D, personal property and real property. What say you? What do you think our answer is? Do, 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 do. What you got for an answer? All right, 170, Marily, you're telling me. We got Marily, she says it's a B. We got Marily with the B. All right, Venus, you're telling me it's C. Caroline, you said you have problems with your internet. Oh, no. So hopefully you can sit through the whole thing here where you know you are welcome anytime, anyway, my darling. Anytime, anyway. All right, so we got a B and we got a C. C. Venus, your name is Venus. We got a V. So we got a tie. Oh, Stacy said it's B. Anybody else? Well, our answer is actually going to be this: multiple properties under one mortgage. Think developer. If a developer buys attractive land, right? This is the street. That's the cul-de-sac. You got a lot, you got a lot, you got a lot, you got a lot, you got a lot. Okay, that's just weird. You have a lot. You have a lot. These are all lots. This is lot one. This is lot two. This is lot three. This is lot four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Well, a developer might buy. Okay, that's just terrible. Nobody said I was an artiste. A developer might buy all of these lots, but then they're going to start building lot one and maybe lot three and lot five to start off with. They're going to build those lots and then they're going to sell them. Well, if it's just one mortgage, we know there's the due on sale or the alienation clause. And if they sell off one piece of land, then the lender could say, hey, we want all of our money. Unless it's a blanket mortgage, which is going to allow you, there's going to be a release clause that allows you to do. So that's why you said construction. So you were going down the right path. You were thinking construction. We just needed to tweak it a little bit. That's okay. All right, 171. The purpose of private mortgage insurance is to what? The purpose of private mortgage insurance is to A, guarantee title to the property, B, protect the borrower from default, C, protect the lender against loss from borrower defaults, or D, insure the property against damage. All right, Marily says that it is C. Boop. We got one C. Stacy's giving me a C. Okay, that's a C, and that's not what I meant to write. Ding. I'm mad at every single one of y'all. Why did I get to my 9 o'clock class to find out that it was daylight savings time today. I had no idea I had woken up an hour early. None. I was like, why am I so tired? And then they were like, it's daylight savings time. I was like, oh. Not near one of y'all were like, hey, Candace, it's gonna be daylight savings. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. Just let me be silly. All right. So, yes, our answer is C. Protect the lender against loss from borrower default. We know what happens is that in this private mortgage insurance, we know this is for a conventional loan, meaning the only collateral is going to be the house. So to protect themselves, the bank says, okay, borrower, you need to get some PMI. We need you to pay a mortgage insurance policy that says if you default, they'll kick in some money so we don't lose as much. That's what PMI is about. If it's a conventional loan, PMI is to cover the bank. What do you call it if it's an FHA loan? There's insurance. What is that insurance called for FHA loans? It's PMI if it's conventional, but what is it if it's FHA? Anybody? And oh, I see you there, Venus. I see you there. Venus says it's C2, and you are correct. There's a little bit of a delay. Sorry, I did not see you. This is going to be MIP. This stands for Mortgage Insurance Premium. MIP. And this is FHA loans, which means, remember, the money is coming from the bank. It's just, oh, hi, Caroline. It's just that FHA is providing the loan insurance, the mortgage insurance. So there you go. Number 172. Which of the following statements about fee simple absolute ownership is true? Which of the following statements about fee simple absolute ownership is true? So we know that there's a definition to fee, and we know there's a definition to absolute. Is it A, it requires continuous use? B, it is limited in duration? C, it may revert to the grantor upon a condition? Or D, it is the most complete form of ownership? All right, Marily, Caroline, and Stacy, you all hit me with a D. You hit me with a D as an answer. And of course, being the genius ladies you are, that is our answer. Because we know this and this is probably going to be a type of defeasible estate. Now, this sounds like a defeasible slash a fee simple conditional estate, but it's defeasible, right? This could also be a life estate because, it's ownership for the life of a person. Hey, Tricks. And this continuous use. I don't know what they talking about here. I got nothing on that one. But yes, our answer is D. Love it. 173. Oh, we're at 173, y'all. I'm going to have to make some more questions. Let me make a little note. I'm going to need to make more questions for y'all. Making my note here. Make more questions for Wednesday. I think we're going to get through everything today. A real estate salesperson must conduct licensed activities. So a real estate salesperson, if you're a North Carolina person, this would be a provisional broker. A real estate salesperson must conduct licensed activities. Is it A, with direct government oversight, B, only with attorney approval, C, under the supervision of a licensed broker, or if you're in North Carolina, this would be a BIC, or D, independently without broker supervision? All right, we got C, we got C, we got C. You said, I see you, Stacy. I see you, and you're saying that. Oh, wait, I didn't share my sound. I got to give you the whole effect. Let me share my sound, and now we can have it.
I like carrots, and you should too. It goes crunch, 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 and it's good for you.
We like carrots.
And you should too. It goes
Crunch, crunch, crunch. Throwing carrots for the win. Whoop, whoop. So, our answer is C. If you are a salesperson or provisional broker, you know you have to be supervised. If you don't want to be supervised, become a broker. Become a BIC if you're in North Carolina. You don't have to be under somebody, but most likely you should be. All right. Ooh, 174. This is one of my favorites because it's a math question, but there's no calculator. The income approach to formula to determine value is. The income approach formula to determine value is equal to NOI plus cap rate. Value is equal to cap rate divided by NOI. Value is equal to NOI divided by cap rate, or value is equal to NOI times cap rate. This is what I'm talking about. Do not be surprised on the test where they're going to, you have to know exactly what the answer is. Obviously, it has something to do with cap rate NOI. Am I multiplying? Am I dividing? Am I adding? Obviously, subtracting wasn't an option. Which one am I doing first? I don't know. All right. All right, we got a C from Marily. We got a C from Stacy. We got a C from Caroline. What do we have? All right. And we have, I think that you're giving me a C there, Venus. I can't tell. I think if that's the last answer. But yes, NOI divided by cap rate. And I'll be honest with you all, even though I understand, oh, Trick said C too. Even though I understand it, when I think, anytime y'all ask me a question about NOI, cap rate, I go straight to a T-bar. Even if you don't use T-bars all the time, I find it helpful. I go, oh, NOI divided by cap rate equals value. So then in my mind, I don't have to struggle on, oh, what do I do to find? Because if you've ever used a T-bar, if you have the two bottom numbers, you multiply. If you're going side by side, you multiply. But if you've got a top and a bottom number, you divide. And then you remember TGIF. Top goes, that's not how you spell goes, in first. Top goes in first. You put the top number in first, and then you put the bottom number in. So in this case, it's NOI divided by cap rate. And that is C, our final answer. Even if you don't like cap rates in general, sometimes you might find this helpful. If the only cap rates, if you don't find T-bars helpful in general, this might be helpful to you for the test. It is going to tell you what you're supposed to multiply, what you're supposed to divide, all of that kind of stuff. All right. There we go. All right. Next question, 175. Earnest money Sorry, somebody asked me questions. You're still having a hard time to understand comps when you build a new property? So Marilia has asked me a question. If you're in the Zoom room, you all can't see it. She said, you're still having a hard time to understand comps when you build a new property. Talk to me, Marilia. Tell me, like, are you talking about a CMA problem where you might have like comp one, and then you'd have comp two, and then there'd be a subject property, and you have to make, the addition or subtraction? Or are you talking about how to choose comp one or how to choose comp two? Are you having a hard time choosing or the hard time adjusting the values?
Think they're
You can
adjusting the value.
adjusting the value. Okay, let's hit this up real quick. So let's say you have a subject property. It has got 2,000 square feet. It has 3 bedrooms and it has 3.5 baths. Right? Then you're going to have a comp. Well, comp one, let's say that it's got 1,800 square feet. It is 3 bedrooms and it is 2.5 baths. And maybe you have comp two that's 2,100 square feet and it is 4 bedrooms and it is 3 baths. We see that all 3 properties are different. What we're trying to do is say, look, we know comp one, so for, let's say, 325. And we know comp two, so for 342.5. What you're trying to do is say, these comps sold at this price with those features. We know with 4 bedrooms, 2,100 square feet, and 3 bedrooms, the value of comp two was 342.5. But this is a what if game. What if comp two actually had what the subject has? What if comp two was 2,000 square feet and it was 3 bedrooms and it was 3.5 baths? Would it still sell for 342.5? That's what you're trying to find out. You at the end of the day are saying, hey, if comp two had these features, what would be the new sales price? So let's stop right there. Does the concept of that part make sense, Marily? Oh, I didn't hear you. I think you said yes, but you cut off. Yes? Perfect. Yay. And if anybody, even if you're on YouTube, if you have a question with that, let me know. All right. So we're going to do the same thing for comp one. What would be the value if this comp had the same features as our subject? We're turning it in, we're turning our comps into our subject. Now, one piece of information these problems have to tell you is, what is the value? So this problem would have to tell you the price per square foot maybe is $110 per square foot. They might have to tell you that a bedroom is worth, I don't know, 15,000. And they might have to tell you that a full bath is equal to 10K and that a half bath is equal to 8K. 8,000. This is information more than likely that the problem is going to give you. Now, y'all, let's just be honest. I am trying to do some math off the top of my head with some numbers I just made up. Everybody, let's do a little prayer. Well, we never touch the subject. We never touch the subject. We only ever touch the comp. This subject is in a glass box. We don't ever touch the subject. Never, never, never. What we've got to do is we've got to turn comp 1 into the subject property. So what we do is we're going to say there's I teach this two ways. CIA and CBS. Now let's just talk about it in general. The subject property has 2,000 square feet. In comp 1, it had 1,800 square feet. Don't take anything else into consideration. But if comp 1 had more square feet, do you think it would have sold for more money or less money? Would have sold for more money or less money? More. So that means we know whatever the difference is, if comp 1 had sold for $1,800, it would have sold for, pick a new color, more money. Meaning if the comp is inferior, we would be adding value. If the comp is inferior, it would have sold for more money. You're adding value. Okay. Now, let me stop right there. Caroline, you said for the prices. These prices are always going to vary. They vary on the area. They vary on the neighborhood. In real life, your broker is going to help you come up with these. On the test, we will always give you these numbers, but in real life, when you're trying to say, what is the cost per square foot? What is the cost of a full bath versus a half bath? That is what you're going to work with your broker to figure out. That's a great question. All right. So we know that going back to this, comp 1 had 1,800 square feet. It would have sold for more money if it had 2,000 square feet. Well, look at our bedrooms. It's the same. There's no additional, it's just, I'll cross it out there. There's no change to be made. 3 bedrooms, it's the same. Now, our subject has 3.5 baths, and our comp has 2.5 baths. I think we understand if this comp had had an extra bath, it would have sold for more money. Because this comp is inferior to the subject, we would add. So let's just continue on with our do we add or do we subtract? Let's look at comp 2. Comp 2 had 2,100 square feet and it sold for $342,500. Our subject has 2,000 square feet. I think we can agree if comp 2 had less square feet, it would have sold for less money. If our comp is better, we would subtract value. We would subtract from the sales price. If comp 2 only had 2,000 square feet, it would have sold for less money. We see this 4 bedrooms. Well, it had 4 bedrooms and sold for $342,500. Our subject only has 3 bedrooms. So we're thinking if it had less bedrooms, it would sell for less money. Our comp is better than our subject. Our comp is better, so we're going to subtract. And then we have our bathrooms. Our comp here had 3 bathrooms, and our subject had 3.5 bathrooms. If this comp had more bathrooms, I'm assuming it would have sold for more money. Our comp is inferior, so it was sold for more money. We're going to add. We don't know the amount of how much we're adding and subtracting, but now we know, are we adding or are we subtracting to the value? Now, in California, people, you know you don't have to do this on your test, but you will be doing CMAs, and this is how you do it, so you might as well pay attention too. So now that we know whether we're adding or subtracting, and remember, we don't really need this one because it's the same, we got to figure out the number. So what I'm going to do is say, well, at 2,000 square feet, The value at $110 per square foot, the value of that would be, and I'm just going to do 2,000 times 110. That gives me $220,000. That's the value of this square footage. And at 1,800 square feet, the value at 110 per square foot. Yeah. That's 198. The difference between 220 and 198, what is that, 22,000? So we're saying if comp one had more square footage, it would have sold for $22,000 more. Well, let's do our other square feet as well. We know comp, the subject has 2,000, it's worth 220. Our comp two has 2,100 square feet. So 2,100 times 110, that's 231. Well, the difference between 231K and 220K is, what is that, 11? 11. So what we're saying is this would have sold for $11,000 less. It would have sold for $11,000 less because it had less square footage. Awesome. Well, let's look at our bedrooms. There's no change here because 3 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, but we see our 4 bedrooms. If every bedroom is worth $15,000, hopefully we all can do that math and say 3 times 15K, that's going to be 45K. That's the value of 3 bedrooms. 4 bedrooms would be 60K. So the difference between 60 and 45 is $15,000. Because this house has less bedrooms, it would have sold for $15,000 less. All right. Now let's do bathrooms. The value of 3.5 baths, that would be $30,000 for the full baths plus $8,000 for the half bath. So that would be $38,000 for bathrooms. Okay. Well, 2.5 baths would be $28,000. So the difference between 28 and 38 is $10,000. We're saying this property would have sold for $10,000 more if it had another bathroom. This property had 3 baths. And our subject has 3.5 baths. So the value of 3.5 baths is 38. The value of 3 baths is 30,000. So the difference between 38 and 30,000 is $8,000. We're saying this house would have sold for $8,000 more. We made all of our adjustments. And now what we have to do is find our adjusted value. The house had sold for $325,000. But if it sold for $22,000 more because it had more square feet, we didn't make any changes for the bathroom, and then it sold for $10,000 more because it needed another bathroom, we're doing the $325,000 plus the $22K plus the $10,000K. So that's $325,000 plus 22 plus 10 equals $357,000. We're saying if comp 1 had the features of the subject, it would have sold not for $325,000, it would have sold for $357,000 if it had had the same features. Well, then you got comp 2. It sold for 342.5, but it would have sold for 11 less. It would have sold for 15 less. It would have sold for 8 more. So I'm going to do 342,500 minus 11,000 minus 15,000 plus 8,000. That's 324,500. So that means now again, I picked random numbers. I know this doesn't look all that pretty, but we're saying this property, this subject property is going to sell someplace in between 357 and 324. I mean, that's pretty wide. You probably should choose better comps in real life, but that's the math. That's how you know whether you're adding or subtracting. That's how you adjust the value of your comps. Notice we didn't touch our subject. All we did is used our subject to find a baseline so we could add or subtract. So that took a little bit, but Marily, does that make more sense, or did I lose you someplace? Okay, you like the step-by-step. Good. Yay! I love that helped. I love it a lot. I like it a lot. All right, back to problems 175. And of course, if you're in my Zoom room, then you can tell me you need help. Let me know. 175. Earnest money is best described as what? Earnest money is best described as A, non-refundable under all circumstances. B, a legal requirement for all contracts. C, a deposit demonstrating buyer's good faith. Or D, the same as the down payment. What say you for question 175? A, B, C, or D? All right, I got lots of C's coming in. Marily says it's C, and Stacy says it's C, and Caroline says it's C. I got anybody in my Zoom room want to throw out an answer there? And while I'm waiting for that,
C is for cookie. That's good enough for me.
Cookie starts with C. La 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 la. You know what starts with B? Brownies. But I don't know any song about brownies. That'd be nice if there was a song about brownies. All right, Trixie, you're telling me it's C too? So yes, our answer is C, a deposit demonstrating a buyer's good faith. This earnest money deposit is designed to say, hey, seller, if I flake on you, then here's the money you get. If I breach, here's the money you get to keep because I didn't buy the house. Our answer is C. Now, we know that B is not right because it's not a legal requirement for all contracts. We know that would be mutual agreement, consideration, legal capacity, and lawful objective. Right? MCLL. And it can be returned. A is not right because if the seller breaches, the buyer would get it back. And it's not the same as the down payment. The down payment is the difference between the value and the loan. That's completely different. So there you go. 176. A section of land measures what? A section of land measures, is it 6 miles by 6 miles, 1 mile by 1 mile, 160 acres by 160 acres, or 1 acre by 1 acre? Well, we can eliminate this. It's not acres by acres. Like that's not a thing. We're talking about like, there's got to be a length. There's got to be a length to this to find the area. What you got? Is A, is B. Is A, is B. B. We got some B's here. We got Stacy with the B. We got Marilli with the B. We got Caroline with the B. Anybody else? Bees in the trap. Bees in the trap. A bees in the hey Maribel. A bees in the trap. Bees in the trap. A bees in the trap. Bees in the trap. Maribel says it's A. Section. Caroline said 36 sections, 1 mile by 1 mile, I think. You don't have to guess, ma'am. Your answer is correct. Remember that you got a township. And it is 6 miles by 6 miles. So then each one has 6 sections. Or let's say each row here, we're putting it into 36 sections. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then you'd have 13, 14. It just keeps winding until you get to 36 sections. And each one of those sections is 1 mile by 1 mile. That's a section. And we know this section has 640 acres. And if we quarter that, it would be 160 acres. 160 acres. 160 acres. 160 acres. So the answer to our question is 1 mile by 1 mile, because we're measuring that length. Okay. Number 177. When which lien attaches to all property owned by the debtor? This word should be screaming out at you, all. Which lien attaches to all property owned by the debtor? A judgment lien, a mortgage lien, a mechanic's lien, or a property tax lien. This is a fancy way of saying which is a general lien. We know a specific lien attaches to a specific property. A general lien attaches to a person and everything they may own. All right, we got for 177, we got a D. We got a D. We have another D. Oh, wait, that's not what I meant to do. We got another D. Maribel, you said A. Okay, why did I just do D, 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 D? Okay, everybody in the Zoom room. Zoom said D. Maribel, you said A. And guess what? Maribel got this one right. What? And the crowd goes wild. Oh, well, let's talk about why, but we need a visual for this. We definitely need a visual. Let's see, do I have one available? We'll just open it up. 1 second, please. What am I looking for? What? I'm looking for the in the car. I know I have it. That's exactly what I need. This right here, this section right here about liens. We know a lien is a type of encumbrance. And we got two types of liens. Our specific liens that are a lien attached to one specific property. And you've got a general lien. That's a lien that's going to be against a person. So this is property. This is real property. And this is attached to a person. So a mechanic's lien, if I don't pay my contractor, they can only put a lien on the house that they did work on. A mortgage lien, they can only foreclose on the house that I gave them the mortgage for. Real property tax liens, those are going to be against the property. If I buy your house and you owe back taxes, now I owe back taxes. Those are all specific liens. A general lien is against a person. And one of those general liens would be a judgment lien. Now, your income taxes, those would be a general lien as well. So if we look at that, we can go back to our question, which lien attaches to all property owned by the debtor? And that would be a judgment lien. So first, does this make sense? Oh, Trix, I see you got it right too. Yay for Trix. Yay, good. I'm glad that it's clearing it up. Glad that it's clearing that up. All right. A property has an effective gross income of $85,000 and a value of $1 million. The overall capitalization rate is. Right? The overall capitalization rate is it A, cannot be determined without NOI, B, 11.76%, C, 8.5%, or D, 85%? What say you for question 178? What do we got going? Do 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 do. Caroline says C. Anybody else? Marillie said, I don't know. Well, we're talking about capitalization rate, and there's only one what do you call it? Formula for capitalization rate. NOI divided by the cap rate, because capitalization rate is cap rate, equals value. All right? So the problem told us that it has an effective gross income. Well, this says net operating income. We can't really use that. And a value of 1 million. If you want to find cap rate, remember what you would do is say NOI divided by value gives you a cap rate. But it did not give us NOI, making our answer A, cannot be determined without an NOI. An effective gross income is great and all, but to find the NOI, you got to subtract out expenses, operating expenses. There you go. You did know that. I know you knew that. And that's why the T-bar kind of somehow just helps. Sometimes just being able to put NOI over value and cap rate, for just once you write it out, it makes all the sense in the world. Yeah, the T-bar. The good old T-bar. Sometimes it saves us. 179. When the title is held by blah, 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 blah. When title is held as tenants by the entirety. When title is held by tenants by the entirety, is it A, the property is protected from individual creditors? B, it sounds like Skeletor, like He-Man. B, no right of survivorship exists. C, either spouse may sell without the other's consent. Or D, the ownership must be equal between the spouses? Ooh. Mm, 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 mm. All right, Caroline gave me a D. Marily gave me a D. Daisy gave me a D. You know, I would have said the answer is A, but I've always understood that to be true as well. I thought this was true. I know you're protected from individual creditors, and I know A is right. I know they're saying A is the answer, but now I've got to ask Uncle Ray. We haven't called Uncle Ray in a while, y'all. We got to ask Uncle Ray if it's true that you don't have to be equal. Tenants by the entirety doesn't have to be equal. I was always under the impression it did. Now, remember, we created these using chat, or this is Claude, but still AI. Could AI be wrong? Yes. So let's look. Let's see what ChatGPT says. Hey, Uncle Ray, I'm just wondering, I'm taking a test and it's telling me that there's a chance that ownership doesn't have to be equal between spouses in a tenants by the entirety state. Is that a true statement? And is my knowledge based off of North Carolina, where it has to be equal? Is that a only North Carolina thing? What should I know?
That's a
Oh no. No, I didn't mean to repeat. Oh no. Sorry, I didn't hear your answer, Uncle Ray. Could you repeat that answer?
Of course, absolutely, Candace. Let me just run that back for you. So basically, I'm happy to repeat anything you need. Just let me know which part you want to hear again. I'm here.
I needed to know if tenants by the entirety is required to have equal ownership in all states. Could it be different amounts of ownerships, tenants by the entirety?
Oh, got it. Sure thing. So yeah, North Carolina, and I know that's your home base. Tenants by the entirety do have to hold equal shares, like 50-50 ownership between spouses, but that's not universal. Other states can have different rules. Some states do allow a little flexibility, and in some places, it's more about the protection of the marital unit rather than strictly having identical percentages. So it's definitely a North Carolina thing to insist on equal ownership, but it's not the same everywhere. Let me know if you need more details.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anytime, Candace. If you need anything else, real estate quirks, legal tidbits, or even just a bit of that Uncle Ray charm, you know where to find me.
All right, there you go. I did not realize this, but we found out, and by we, I mean me. I found out today that ownership doesn't have to be equal between spouses in some states. I wonder what states it is. Ooh, let's ask. So, no, this is not the answer. It's here. Let's ask him. Gotta love us some Uncle Ray, right? Hey, hey, Uncle Ray, can you tell me some of the states where the tenants by the entirety does not have to be equal, just so I have an idea for my students?
Absolutely. So let's put on our teaching hat here for a second. In a handful of states, tenants by the entirety isn't always as strict about the 50-50 split as in North Carolina. For example, in states like Tennessee and Delaware, there can be a bit more flexibility. They still recognize tenants by the entirety as a form of ownership, protecting married couples, but they don't necessarily require that each spouse has an exactly equal percentage. It's more about the nature of the marital unit and the protection it gives them rather than that strict 50-50 rule. So that's a good little tidbit for your students. North Carolina is pretty firm on the equal share idea, but a few other states are a little more lenient. Let me know if you need more examples or anything else.
Could I get some more examples of other states where it doesn't have to be equal?
Absolutely, Candace. Like highlight a couple more states for your teaching toolkit. In addition to places like Tennessee and Delaware, you can look at Vermont and Alaska. These states also treat tenants by the entirety in a way that doesn't always mandate a perfect 50-50 split. Instead, the focus is more on the protection of the marital unit as a whole. So if one spouse had a slightly larger contribution in some of these states, it wouldn't necessarily break the tenants by the entirety form of ownership. So to sum it up, North Carolina is definitely one of the stricter states. Good places like Vermont, Alaska, Tennessee, and Delaware have a little more wiggle room. Hopefully that gives you a nice range of examples for your students.
All right. Hopefully you all could hear him. If you couldn't, is that the abbreviation for Delaware? I was like, Delaware. I don't think I've written Delaware. It's not DW. It's got to be DL, right? Alexa, what's the two-letter abbreviation for Delaware?
Delaware's two-letter abbreviation is D.
There you go. DE. I was like, DL didn't seem right either. I was like, I don't remember that being Delaware. That people are on the DL, but not the states. Okay. Alexa, stop. So DE. I knew that. I knew Delaware. So Tennessee, Delaware, Vermont, and Alaska. Or is that Arkansas? That's Alabama. Alexa, what's the abbreviation for Alaska?
Alaska's abbreviation is AK.
What is the abbreviation for Alabama?
Alabama's abbreviation is AL.
And what's the abbreviation for Arkansas?
Arkansas's abbreviation is R.
Thank you. Stop. All right. So I was right. Alaska is AK. Those are the states where it doesn't exactly have to be equal. So Venus, yes, there is a little bit of a delay between what you answer and what I'm seeing. Just there seems to be a delay there. But now we know the answer is A. Once again, Alexa, stop. Once again, our Claude AI is teaching us stuff. I would have said that they both have to be equal, but it turns out in some states, it doesn't. It's just,
Glad I could help with those state abbreviations. Always happy to be your geography backup when memory gets a little fuzzy.
Alexa, stop. All right. It is good to know, Caroline, right? So do we all learn something with this attendance by the entirety? And you know, not all states use tenants by the entirety. Some states like California, they don't do that. They do community property instead. And I still stick to this is why it's so important. This is why this test has questions that are most of you all that are going to be for lots of other states. So especially my North Carolina people, we got people coming in from all sorts of states. Lots of people coming in from New York and California, where it's a little bit more expensive. We got to understand that not everybody's real estate played exactly the same game. So it just helps us be more educated. All right. Yay. So, yeah, so Venus, I see you saying that you divide, and I'm assuming you are kind of behind me right now. If you're talking about dividing, I'm assuming you're talking about this NOI question, so I'm not quite sure where there's a delay, but that's why I'm not seeing your answers. I'm sorry. All right, question 180. Ugh. An appraiser, oh, so I shouldn't have said that out loud. There was lots of numbers there, y'all. An appraiser finds 3 comparable sales at $295, $305, and $298. After adjustments, the indicated values are $300, $302, and $299. The appraiser will most likely average the 3 values, use the lowest adjusted value, reconcile based on reliability of each comparable, or D, use the highest adjusted value. What say you for 180? All right, we just had to send that message to Venus. So we had to let her know. All right, so for this answer, 180, we've got a C maybe. Caroline said C. Stacy said C. Anybody else? Anybody else? No, you said B, Stacy. Stacy said B. Caroline said C. Venus, you are saying C, and I'm hoping that's the right answer. I hope that's going along there, right? Really, you said C? Oh, wait, that's Venus. And really, you said C. And yes, our answer is C, reconcile based on reliability. So you don't just average. Most definitely on the test, it's never just an average. And they're not just going to go with the lowest or the highest. It's going to be a weighted average. So when we go through and do this, the appraiser might say, you know what, this one is the most similar. This one is the most similar to my property. So I should really base it my final value closest to that property. It's a weighted average. Yes. Sorry, Miss Venus, but you know you can always come into the Zoom room if you like. There's no delay in the Zoom room. And if you want to be like a little bit more just on top, just shoot me an email and you can come in the Zoom room. And my email is Candace Ellis at gmail.com. All right, last question of the evening, simply because I need a nap. This hour daylight savings time is kicking my tush. A deed that warrants a title only against defects arising during the grantor's period of ownership is a what? A deed that warrants title only against defects arising during the grantor's period of ownership is a, all right, Caroline is giving me an A, and Marily is giving me an A, and Stacy is giving me an A, yo, A, yo. Mm, 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 mm. All right. So what do we think? Do we like this answer? Do we like this answer? Right, and our answer is yes, A. This is the definition of a special warranty deed. It's only against defects arising during the grantor's period of ownership. If it was a general warranty deed, it would protect any time. If it was quitclaim deed, you get no protection. You don't even own it. You may not even own it. And then the bargain and sale deed just transfers. No other promises. So yeah, that is our special warranty deed. And you know full well you are going to have on your exam some question about deeds. That is unescapable, right? And Tricks, I see you got an A there as well. Nice. A for apple. We got it right. We got it right. Hey, we got it right. Do a little dance, do a little dance, do a little dance, do a little dance. Hey, 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 hey. All right, it is just about 6 o'clock. We've got the end of that page gone. Hopefully this helped you. You learned a little something. I know we took a little bit of time to go over the comps, and I'm hoping that helps you a little bit, but I will see you on Wednesday. If you need me, you know how to find me. Oh, I plan to be uploading some more things this week, so check out the YouTube page. Bye, everybody.